All right, greetings YouTube, Dale Puckett here, and in this video I want to talk about F-holes. All right, so this one here is just a piece of paper that I cut out. I'll use it as a template. And I bought these things online here. You can get these things, they're just made out of wood. You could probably actually just make them, and I also use these as templates. A buddy of mine, Kyle Gowan, cut these out for me out of various pieces of metal. I have stainless, copper, and he made different colors of rust here, so I have basically every color. These are actually really cool. What I've been digging on these days are these templates that I order online, right? Isn't that cool? And you get every shape and size of these things. But anyhow, so in this video I want to show you different strategies, various techniques, tips and tricks, and the tools that I use to cut these F-holes in the 3-string cigar box guitars. So, hopefully you will find this video informative and educational. All right, first things first, you can just print these things out online and then cut them out. Or you can draw them, whatever. The point is that they got to be about the right size ratio for your box, right? So you might want to experiment with different sizes of F-holes so that the box size and the F-hole size kind of match, right? So on this one here, I'm going to go with this little template here, right? And because for me, it's like the right size for this box here. All right, so the very first thing I do is I take off the box, take off the lid, and you can take them off however you want. I'm going to sand this thing down here, so you just rip the top off and just like start peeling off the paper. I'm going to sand it down to get it down to the wood. That's all I'm going to do for this box here. What I like about these Churchill boxes is that, I mean, look at that wood. That is freaking awesome. It's about 3/16 of an inch thick. So you've heard it said, measure twice, cut once. I say measure 3 or 4 times just to make sure it's right. So I got 3 inches on this side and 3 inches on this side. I'm going to mark it so I know where the center is. Okay, and then get my template. And this one here, I'm just going to eyeball it. Just kind of get in the general ballpark. And what I'm going to do for one side, I'm going to do for the other side, just so it's nice and balanced. And I'm just going to draw it on there with a pencil. Alright. And that looks about right. Looks about right. Alright, so I'm going to do both sides. Alright, so once I get my images of the F-holes on the surface of the guitar, with whatever method, then I go back and after I make sure that they're centered in exactly where I want them, then I'll go back with a Sharpie and I'll make those lines really distinct so that I can see them. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get just a regular drill with a tiny little bit, right? And then I'm going to go along the outline of the F-hole, just on the outline, and then I'm going to go back with a little blade. Where's my little blade? Here's a little blade, and kind of saw it out. So that's what I'm going to do for the first F-hole. All right, once you have all your holes drilled, then what I do is I make a little saw bit out of just a hacksaw, and I just kind of grind it down to make it skinny, right? And then I kind of force it inside there, and then I just saw it, just kind of take my time, and I just go along, just kind of connecting the dots, so to speak. You can see there how it's coming along rather nicely. Another little trick I do is I get needle nose and I'll reach down here and I'll kind of bite in between the dots and kind of take away some of the material that way. And that just kind of makes sawing just a little bit easier because there's less bulk material to have to cut through, because these guys here I can just wedge it in there and cut away some of that material. Steak knife works awesome as well. Whatever you can get your hands on, just be safe, you know. Oh yeah, this works good. It's kind of hard to go around the corners because it's kind of fat, you know what I'm saying? So, all right, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is very tiring, very tedious. One thing I do is I switch hands. I go from the right hand to the left hand, back to the right hand, back to the left hand. And I'm almost done. One thing I do recommend though is do the complicated parts first, and then do the easy parts, which are the straight runs. Do those last. And we're almost done. Come on. There it is. Ta-da! Alright, so there's the first rough F-hole. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my little file, my little flat file. That's what I use for fret dressing, little flat guy. And I'll kind of get in here and make it larger and smoother. Take all the edges off all the way around. Or if you have a Dremel, that works nice too. It's got to have one of these kind of bits, them carving bits. Sandpaper works the best. I do sandpaper on the inside, right? Just to get rid of all the paper and all the extra like splinters and slivers, so that when you're looking at it from the back side, right, it's just smooth. And you can also sandpaper the top side as well. All right, another thing I like to do is I like to cut a little piece of sandpaper, a little thin piece, right? So that I can sand in the middle in here. Again, the whole goal is to get all these edges to be smooth and round. So whatever it takes, whether it's the Dremel tool or sandpaper or a file, the goal is to get it nice and smooth and round. All right, and then the little crossbar of the F, I get one of these triangle files, right? And then I file right sharp, right at the little line, just to get that real high definition little cross member there on the F. That's a nice little detail that I like to make sure that happens. All right, that is one awesome F-hole. All right, so the next one here, I'm going to show you a different way to do it. What I do is I get a big fat drill, right? And then I drill in the top and the bottom, and then just a couple here in the middle. Kind of like this here. Okay, so I got 3 holes, top, middle, and bottom. All right, this next method is with a scroll saw, and what I do is I get the skinniest blade I can find, right? I'm going to put it through the hole, and then into the bottom, into the top, tighten that dude down. so as you can see, this method is much more efficient. So this is the way I usually do it. Okay, finally, what I do is I get sandpaper, kind of curl it up, get inside the middle here, and I just go to town, just sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding. Because what I like is I like nice beveled edges, smooth and round everywhere. So you want to be careful with these little pieces here because they are a little bit fragile. You can kind of see they're kind of a little bit weak. And that's it. Just sand and sand and sand to your heart's content. All right, well, I hope you found that video informative and educational. And good luck with those F-holes.